And staying with the race for the White House, with just 2 weeks left in the race, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are leaving no stone unturned to gather more votes. Campaigning with former Republican lawmaker Liz Cheney in the battleground state of Pennsylvania, Kamala Harris cast herself as a leader for all generations. Speaking to young voters, the Democratic presidential candidate said she appreciates Gen Z, calls them the young leaders the country needs.
I love Gen Z. Because we have Gen Zs in our lives. We have kids who are Gen Zs. It can be complicated, I know. I love Gen Z. These young leaders are they're clear-eyed. You know, they've only known the climate crisis. They've only known active shooter drills. I mean, we had fire drills, not our kids, right? But they also, they're so wonderfully impatient. Right? No, really, that's good. That's good. They're ready to get in there. Let's invest in them.
Now, Gen Z are people born between 1997 and 2012, and they make up more than 50% of new voters. More than 8 million Gen Z Americans will vote in November, and at least 47% of them will be voters of color. In fact, in most of the key swing states, Asian, Black, and Latino Gen Z voters will make up most of the newly eligible voters. Recent polls show that Kamala Harris is seen as more favorable candidate compared to Donald Trump among 82% of Gen Z voters.
So my vote is very strongly for Kamala Harris. She is a homegrown Bay Area native and really understands the needs of immigrant communities, low-income people, people of color, and she's just really going to reflect the needs of our country.
I mean, it's a clear choice. I'm going to vote for Harris and Walz, and they're the ones who I think are going to be able to unify the country and also speak to the issues that are important to me as an Asian American voter.
As the vice president gets glowing marks from much of the Gen Z crowd, she is, however, facing some pushback from working class white women, particularly those without a college education. Despite struggling to gain the confidence of overall working women in the 2016 and 2020 presidential races, Donald Trump has carved out a distinct popularity among white women, winning this key demographic in the previous 2 election cycles. Opinion polls show that working white women prefer Trump as they criticize the Biden administration's border and economic policies. However, Kamala Harris is hopeful of turning that around with her pro-women policies led by her stance on reproductive rights.
I have had conversations with a number of people who were opposed to abortion and remain opposed to it, but did not intend for the harm that we are seeing to happen. And I think as this decision came down and we are seeing the harm, there are more and more people who are agreeing that this should not be the government making this decision for women and their families. And the way that we will address this is eventually Congress needs to pass a law restoring those protections. And we need to agree that in our society, you know, we should not have laws that are treating people in a way that is causing such harm.
Political experts say that Gen Z and white women could potentially be decisive factors in the race for the White House, and everything boils down to the final turnout in this hotly contested election.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election, explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained, every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.